So I will call this meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. And the first thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to read through those few pages? Any comments or changes? Can I get a motion?
I didn't see any that needed to be.
What?
Changed. I didn't see any that needed to be changed.
Okay, can I just get a motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
I'll get those posted. I put public comment on here before we start working in case anybody had anything that would weigh into what we're going to do tonight, and I don't see anyone from the public. So we'll check again when we're done. I'm going to share my screen. There we go. Is that visible to everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So I sent this out in the email, but basically all I did was I captured the vision and the values that we have so far. Thought we could talk through what we want to present to the Board of Selectmen and who will do that. And just, you know, sanity check what we have. We had a little bit of public input at our last session, which I don't know that it materially changes anything, but we can just sanity check that with everybody. So I'm going to just read this again. The town of Chelmsford will be a livable, inclusive, welcoming, multi-generational community. Mindful of our historic past, we are adaptive and responsive to our dynamic environment. Our residents enjoy excellence in education, access to open space, and a vibrant, sustainable quality of life. Does anyone have any changes after walking away and coming back to this, or are we good?
The only suggestion I have, Virginia, and probably because it's so resonating in my mind from last evening's listening session and the whole issue of diversity, you know, and you know, do we want to add the word diverse? You know, since it's an aspirational goal.
We could add it maybe after inclusive, because in the values, if I just jump to that, if you remember, we had said inclusiveness and tolerance, and we had talked about maybe changing tolerance to something like diversity.
Yeah.
So would that make sense to add it after that, Pat? I mean, Paul?
Yeah, I think so. Because I just think having it stated in the vision, you know, in addition to the values, I think, you know, it would just be very contemporary in terms of what's transpired in the last several weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's also a good place to, you know, in the terms of the adjectives, you know, we want livable, inclusive, diverse, welcoming. You know, I think it fits in the order very nicely.
Yeah. I'm happy with that too.
Okay,
Yep, I am too.
great. So now if I go to the values, do we want to change this word tolerance to diversity or something else?
Yeah, I think the word tolerance would not be a good adjective to have.
Right.
And you know, in
light of everything,
It's a dated word.
Yeah. So I think diversity is fine.
It probably ought to be consistent with capital letters here. Any other recommended changes?
I mean, I
think
guess one thing I would say is maybe we should just look at the list in terms of the order.
okay.
Did that before, but
Yeah.
I don't know, as kind of the world's turned upside down in multiple ways since we last met.
Mhm.
If we want to reshuffle,
Sure.
at least think about it.
So what would you want? Do you want to start with a recommendation, Deirdre? I'm not being rude. I'm just checking to see
No,
if
no, no.
Emily is using my phone or not. Go ahead.
I mean, I think that the inclusiveness and diversity and maybe the civic and community engagement might go up higher than they are. I mean, I don't know if we're thinking of this in any kind of a ranking way or if they're all equally important, but I think sort of by placing them at the bottom of the list as opposed to the top of the list, it implies a prioritization.
And I would want transparency, honesty, and integrity right up with those others somehow. I don't know how closely we have to scrutinize the top 2 or 3, but I think that's for our community to function. We want the inclusiveness, the diversity, but we can't function unless we're transparent, honest, and have some level of integrity. We'll never have those other values.
I would agree with that.
Oops. I don't know what I just did.
That's okay. We have the printed list. We can recover.
Always Control Z.
Yeah, I hit the wrong thing. There we go. My line spacing's off too, but I'll fix it later.
Turn my camera.
I would think that the respect and empathy would go up under transparency.
Yeah.
And those four groups go together.
I just realized my camera isn't on again. It keeps having problems. Let me see.
Oh, there you are. Does accountability sort of go a little further up, like after stewardship maybe, or something? Because they tend to be, more similar than the fiscal responsibility or the innovativeness, and
Mhm. I can move it up.
maybe after
After stewardship.
I would even put it above that potentially.
or even before stewardship. Either way, yeah. But I think it belongs in that neighborhood.
Right. And I think stewardship, fiscal responsibility, those go together. And then sustainability, the last 2. So they're kind of paired up, first floor, next 2 or 3, and then.
So I'm just looking at the comments that we got from Susan Dandero and Badri at the last public input session. One of them was about the balance of residential and commercial growth, which I don't know if that really fits here as part of values. Badri had made a comment about sustainability being an independent quality, but we do have it listed there independently. And there was a comment about cultural events and other things of being a welcoming community, attracting people to the town. So it feels like we've got that covered between the vision and the values statements.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
All right, so I think that was anything else on the priorities? The words all still look good?
Yes.
Okay. So if it makes sense to the committee, my next thought was to just talk about what we want to present to the Board of Selectmen and who would like to present it. I was actually going to ask Deirdre and Aaron if you would like to be the presenters, since we're always at these meetings. I would really welcome having like a fresh face present.
Good idea.
I would love to defer if you'd be interested in doing it, Aaron.
You don't want to do it as a team, huh?
I'm a terrified public speaker.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess in these,
Remember, you'll probably be Zooming, so you'll be at the comfort of your own home.
right. I was just gonna say, now that it's Zooming, I'm a little less freaked out. I
Or
can
the
talk
comfort
to a
of your
TV.
office, too.
I can talk to a TV screen easier than I can talk to a crowd.
I certainly don't mind. I certainly don't mind doing it. I do think that it's one of those things, though, where we can start off, speaking however we want to talk about it, what our approach was in summary. But I do
Right.
think it's important that we all have some sort of commentary with it,
Okay.
or something to add to the conversation. Just because I feel like then we come together as a committee that way. But I don't have a problem kind of leading the discussion or the presentation.
Okay. Do we want to outline what that discussion or presentation, I mean, it may just be those two charts on vision and values, or I don't know if you guys wanted anything like to say this was the process we used for the benefit of the public.
I think a brief narrative of, for people who haven't been checked in, a brief narrative of the kind of the origination of the idea and the process. And maybe a descriptive statement of in what way we thought, or I mean, I guess it was kind of your idea, Virginia, but like in what way we thought it was important in this moment to be articulating these thoughts, which I guess I have to.
Why we view it's important
Yeah.
as,
Like why we
as
set
each
out on this
individual, or do
journey.
you want to come up with a statement of that for the,
Oh, I don't know.
okay, well, let me just capture the idea then.
Like why, sorry, my beeper's going on. Why we embarked on this. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I think Deirdre's spot on, right? I think, where it came from, why we got together as a group, why especially Deirdre and I, joined to discuss it, and then the process to go through a couple of public meetings, a survey, and then lead into the statement and the values list, the vision statement and the values list. It doesn't need to be very long, but I definitely think this type of background is important for people that missed it or weren't involved. And then I think it solidifies the where it gives credit to the effort that ended up in those two slides. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a throwing stuff at the wall type of deal, or working in a room without soliciting input.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
As I say, most committee reports that I've done, we usually list the committee members up front in one of the early slides. And I don't know that everybody's gone down the row, so to speak, and commented, but people who want to speak can. Deirdre, you said you're not a big fan of public speaking. I don't know that each of us has to say, our role or what we added or what was most important, because it could get duplicative by the time we get down through all of us. But acknowledging all the members, and then if any, after Aaron speaks, if anybody wants to add, I think that's fine. That's just my two thoughts, having sat on the charter review committee, the town meeting rule committee. You have everybody there at the end. But we did come together as a team. We came up with most of these ideas as a team. So if we each put our comments in, they may sound similar at the end.
Okay. What about, are there any recommendations or anything that we want to provide?
Yeah, I think the last bullet should be next steps or something like that. Recommendations or next steps, in terms of, now if this is accepted and approved as the vision and values, where it goes from there in terms of the action items and so forth.
So I have a question about that, Paul. So, we're presenting to the Board of Selectmen, but, so my question is, like, is this something that would be brought, like the charter review, before town meeting for approval and, then I guess promulgation?
It doesn't have to be. I don't know that was envisioned. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's the problem there is you have 162 opinions.
Yeah. Well,
And
so maybe it could be presented as something that was worked on and,
it could be a committee report to town meeting.
Yeah.
Article 1 under the,
Yeah,
the
committee
other,
report to town meeting as opposed to a town meeting debate and amendments and so
right,
forth.
right. Yeah.
the two committees that I was on, the town meeting rules, it was directed to town meeting. So I had to give the report to town meeting and explain all the rules changes a couple of years ago. And then the charter committee, those had to be acted upon by the body and then sent to the attorney generals for review. So they were required essentially to go to town meeting. This could go to a presentation of the board, and it could be, as Paul indicated, in Article 1 is where we hear reports from committees and officers, just as a general informational to the board, to the body.
So when I originally brought this idea forward to the Board of Selectmen, and I think you'll actually see some of this wording in the objective that we set, but then we scaled it back to just focus on values and vision because it was, I think, a little bit big to try to bite off for this one fiscal year and the time we had left. But the idea was that, Deirdre, you mentioned kind of promulgation. I think we should talk about what does that look like. The idea was also to see if setting the framework for vision and values, if it makes sense from there to look at kind of what is the strategic framework for the town going forward. And if you guys think the answer is no, that's okay. Kind of drawing on my corporate experience, that's usually kind of where the next step would be, is we're setting the vision and values as kind of an overarching glue. And then is there something that you do further now to put in place in terms of either your strategic or your tactical approach to go realize that vision? And I understand it's a little different in, municipalities, and there are some things that are different that are in our control and out of our control, but I'll just throw that idea out there. Paul, I don't know if you have any thoughts, or Mike, you've got.
Yeah, I thought it may translate into some of the board's goals, or action items
Yeah.
from the year. Because again, if you're going to aspire for these things, you've got to take concrete steps and actions. Again.
They may also cross over into goals of other committees. So you think about the discussion we had last night. If the town develops a committee or a task force to examine some of the issues of diversity, inclusiveness, some of these values may transfer over into the work of other committees as well. So it's, I think what you said, this is at the highest level in terms of the values and visions, and it may be acted upon at different layers throughout the town, different committees or individuals. So, and the board may have the Board of Selectmen, as Paul indicated, through goals or any subcommittees they create may further some of those as well.
I viewed this as, kind of the whole time that this would set the overarching, goal, not only for kind of citizens. This is the town, we want to live in, and citizens are obviously a big part of that, but to the municipality side, when we are setting goals for a fiscal year, setting long-term goals, or committees, or redoing committee charters and those types of things, this should be the two documents that everybody goes to make sure that when they're setting those things up, they fit within this framework.
There's
And I think that
alignment.
I kind of felt like that's why we did it. We did it high level and you know, without a lot of words, because people need to be able to now build around those.
Yep.
So I think that should be part of the presentation to the board, is to say, you know, in our you know, ultimate goal of this is that this continues to filter throughout the citizenship and the municipality.
Are there any other thoughts as it relates to the promulgation that Deirdre brought up? Like, does it go, for example, does it go on the website? Do we want it, anything printed and put up in municipal buildings? Is, you know, do we want, because those are the types of things I've seen done with this.
Right.
Certainly, I think the website, I'll just, my opinion is the website is an appropriate place to put it.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about like signage, if you had some nice signs or posters of them made up, you could put those in not only like town hall, but in the senior center and in each of the school building lobbies. So that it's there and it's at the forefront of what people see and breathe every day.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
at each entrance, it would be a nice welcoming. If people, you know, first time they go to open the door, I see a lot of people come, they stop at the handle, they look at the hours of operation, all the notices on the various entrances at town hall. Maybe you have something either right there or right inside the foyer, so that people understand what it is that what we want them to understand about Chelmsford.
Yeah, and I think you see that at the schools with the pride,
Exactly.
you know, with the PRID, you know, so it's, you know, so I think that's similar.
Yeah.
And I think that if it were to be presented as a committee report to town meeting, like what you already wrote up there, that you know, that body and the people at home who are tuning in, watching that body deliberate and watching the presentations, that would get kind of some broad traction, I think, in terms of people seeing it and knowing that it happened and knowing, you know, being able to witness it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I guess there's a couple of approaches we could take. We can stay in this meeting and try to flesh this out and create the presentation, or if you prefer, I would suggest at least Aaron and I, or Aaron and Deirdre can kind of pull it offline, and then we can get back together and say, yeah, we agree that's the presentation. We can have two people talk to each other, right, Paul? We're a
Yes.
6-person committee.
Yes.
So, well, I want to be respectful of folks' time and how much you want to do you want to start fleshing some of this out now, or would you prefer to do it offline and then just get back together?
Why don't we do a combination? Why don't we start fleshing it out now, and then maybe Aaron and I can pull it together, or
Sure.
and then you know, I mean, I guess I could take a piece of it to present to the board. Especially, I guess it doesn't make a lot of sense to have the board members presenting to the board, and it probably doesn't make so much sense for Paul or Mike to be presenting to the board. So I guess it makes more sense for Aaron and I.
Okay.
I mean, I would be fine, Deirdre. You know, again, I think this is only, you know, maybe beyond, you know, 2 slides
Right.
as kind of the intro, and then, you know, the 2 slides with the statement, and I can, you know, we can go through the narrative, why we embarked on it, what the process was, you know, and then, you know, get to that point where we can, you know, you can take us through the vision, the 2 slides with the statement on the values, And then, kind of collectively we can, wrap up with, what these recommendations and next steps are. I really think we can do it, fit the content on 2 slides and talk to it more than, write out the full words in the slide, because I think it'll be more meaningful that way. So if Virginia can, kind of, start us out with that narrative, we can all kind of comment and share and put in there why we felt that was important and put that together into a single statement. And then, the process, we were both there for that. So I think putting
So
the
this part
putting
you're
the words
saying
around that are
is
pretty easy.
So you're saying this, what I have highlighted is pretty straightforward. You guys can pull that together, but
Yep.
tonight you'd like to talk through these 2 things a little bit.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and
I
if we can capture those words now, then that's a big chunk of the meat of it, and we can put the other stuff together pretty quickly offline.
All right. So the background was that it was set as a Board of Selectmen goal. Again, because we thought those of us who wanted to do it thought there would be value in having a place where we could point that said, this is what we have in common as a vision for the town, and what we have common in terms of what we value in our residents, in our employees, in the people that do business with the town, and that would set an overarching framework that would help drive and would help keep alignment with goals as disparate committees and boards, do what they're supposed to do. Does that make sense? I'm not saying it very succinctly, but it was originally a Board of Selectmen objective.
Well, every organization that I've ever worked for either has a vision or a mission statement or a combination thereof.
Right.
And it's something that you can always point to, whatever your charge is within the company, it has to be in line with that vision or mission statement. And it's derived, that's, what you're doing at the end of the day. So this lets people know what we as the town of Chelmsford expect and what we're doing. And then it sets the framework for the goals and objectives that we have throughout the town. So everything we do on a day-to-day basis should align with that vision at the end of the day.
It sets a framework for, I would also say, the culture and the goals. And the values have a lot to do with the culture of how we behave.
Mhm.
Paul, you look like you're frowning.
No, I'm not frowning.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm sorry.
Just thinking, just pensive, huh?
Sorry, yeah, just thinking of this, anything we're forgetting.
I can also just look at what I put together for that first public input session. So there's some words I can pull in here if you want that just say the vision statement articulates your quest or your future path for the town, what you aspire to become, and the values articulates the non-negotiable principles or standards by which we do business. So if you want, I can add those definitions into here and you guys can figure out how that fits. Would that be helpful?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. Actually, I'm going to just go ahead and pull those words. Pull them now. If you guys can think about the second part of Aaron's question, is there anything more we want to say in terms of why we think this is important? But I think this might do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for each one of us, and again, obviously we don't necessarily need to do it in this session now, but you know, if we can each just kind of sit down and think about why this would be important, and just put together, you know, a statement, a short statement or a sentence or two, and then we can kind of collectively put those together. Because I'm sure we're all going to have something similar. I personally think for me, it would be a little hard to kind of sit here and just
Off the cuff of your head.
workshop that one out loud, you know, without really sitting there. I'd probably have to type out a few things and, you know, back and forth. And if we have time, you know, kind of to do that over the next couple of days, I think that we could solidify on something nice.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I feel like these are, I mean, when I read these before, like I kind of jumped out that it's aspirational, you know, like you want to live in a place that thinks about who they want to be and why and in what way. I mean, so I think that these, just what you put out there is kind of a good framework.
Okay. So are you guys good with this, or is there more you want to try to noodle through tonight? If I send this to you, does that give you what you want for the few the couple charts you want to make?
Yeah, so I would say the first slide is the list of the names of the membership.
Yeah.
The second slide is some rendition of this, what you just had up there. And then the third and the fourth are the vision and values. And then a fifth is next steps. And I think you just flash the committee members. I mean, that's just, you blow right by that, but just,
Right.
I mean, it's good to have the list there somewhere.
So you have that.
So I would have one be on one side and one be on the other, one for vision, one for values, right?
Oh.
I mean, I just think otherwise they're too crowded.
I agree. And if you're gonna articulate the process, I don't know, that might just be a bullet, but
Yeah.
So it's nominally 5 or 6 slides.
Mm-hmm.
Did Aaron leave?
No, he's there. I see him.
Oh, there you are. Okay,
Nope, I'm here. I was talking to you. Sorry.
no, it's okay.
I did drop out there. Put me right back in.
I just, for my own curiosity, I just looked at, generally the vision statement comes first, then the mission statement. Some people combine them, but the vision is clearly the aspirational part that helps you define the goals and objectives, which become the mission or the tactical portion that you said for the implementations.
Right. Okay. So are we good with this, Aaron? For you to put
This is
the polish
definitely
on?
a good start. We can do something with this, and between Deidre and I, and then share it back at the group. And what are the next once you send this out and we work on it and share it back and kind of agree on a draft, what are the next steps?
And we schedule ourselves into the next board meeting.
Okay.
So it seems like we'd probably be looking at maybe the end of July, because otherwise it's got to be turned around by Wednesday of next week.
Mm-hmm.
Does that?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. We could probably do it, but I wouldn't want to rush it.
Right, and
so I'd take that second July meeting.
We have to meet again to collaborate. and to give comments for the open meeting law. So, but I think that's probably going to be a half hour or less, you know, just to come back together and say, yep, this is the presentation, if that's what you want to do.
Right, but can Deirdre and I work on it, because we're not a quorum, so we could have conversations and email, and then we could share it back to everybody else to just eyeball it, and if everybody else says, we're good, let's meet, and then we can do a half hour. As long as we don't do it all as a group email, we're not breaking the open meeting, right?
So Paul and Mike help sanity check me. Can we reply individually to just Aaron?
I don't think, if
We can't.
he's working with Deirdre and then he takes our input, I think you're getting,
Okay,
You're going to wind up in a chain meeting as soon as you wind up with three
Right.
people involved. So I don't think you can really do that. I think you guys need to have a package, and then we just get together and decide if there's
Okay.
any.
Changes to
That's
be
fine.
made.
Okay. So I'll send this out to everyone. Don't comment on it when we're done.
and then, so
Is
when
there
is that next meeting?
Do we want to pick a date to get back together?
Well, when's the US meeting? What day is that?
I think you're looking at Monday, the 27th of July.
Okay,
So if we could do like even just, I'm going to be away until the 16th. I could try to hop on a meeting, but I'm thinking even if we just got back together early the week of the 20th,
Mhm.
okay,
because Christina would just need the attachment for the agenda by like Wednesday night.
Yeah, Thursday morning.
Yeah. And I know Emily, Thursdays are hard for her because of her work schedule. It's when the bank is open late. So do you guys want to shoot for Monday the 20th or Tuesday the 21st?
Either of those is okay for me.
I'm probably off for the
I don't wanna-
Tuesday.
I'm sorry, what?
I just vote for Tuesday.
You vote for Tuesday? Okay,
Only because the 20th is my daughter's 20th birthday, and I'm sure we're gonna do something for her.
that's important.
Yeah, and the 20th would, I mean, I can find the half hour, but the 21st would be better.
Wait a minute.
So you want to,
Wait,
why don't we meet Tuesday the 21st?
No, I got it backwards. My parents' anniversary is the 20th because that's the anniversary of the lunar landing. My daughter's birthday is the 21st. I'm sorry. She'll shoot me. They'll all shoot me now. I got it all backwards. So
So which day works for everyone? I can make either one work.
Mike, you can't make, Mike has a conflict with both, I think is what I'm hearing.
no. I don't have to go anywhere for my parent. I had the dates backwards in my head. My daughter's birthday is the 21st. So I'd probably want to be there to, she's home. We'll probably do something for her the
You
rest of
prefer the 20th?
Yes, if possible. We got chat
that-
going on.
Is that okay, Aaron?
I'll make it work.
So Monday, the 20th. Do you guys want to do 6:30 or you want to bump it out to 7? Emily's text back to me just said things were crazy at her house. I don't know if it's a hard time for her, but. What time do you, well, let's just pick a time. What time do you want to do?
6:30 works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is fine.
6:30.
Right, so 6:30 on Monday, the 20th. Dan Silva, can Chelmsford Telemedia stand on that? Okay, I'll address that separately because I don't hear him.
Yeah, that's fine on our calendar.
Okay, thank you. And then we did have opportunity for public input, but I don't see anyone from the public. So if we're all set, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.